Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we're going to prepare for the GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 169. Page 169, today is our lesson number 137, problem number 124, the very first problem in the second column is what we're going to do, 124. Let's take a look at it. We are given a mileage chart between the two cities, and then each dot represents an entry. And we are given a mileage chart, something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. A, B, C, D, and E. A, B, C, D, and E. And we are given some entry here with the dots. Let's put cross so we can see them easily. And here's the question. The question is, if we had 30 cities, distance between the 30, distance between pairs of 30 cities will require how many entries on this chart? Very simple, very straightforward problem. And as always, you hear me say, questions on these exams are always simple and straightforward. It is the answers that tend to get prickly. Let's take a look at it, see what we can do here. So how many entries will we end up seeing in a huge chart if we had 30 by 30 cities? The simplest and the easiest thing to do is to start out with something that they are already showing, which is 5 by 5. And let's understand how many entries there are and why. How many entries are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 entries. Let's find out why. Very first thing we have to understand. So there are five cities here, 5 by 5. Here we have 5 by 5. The chart is 5 by 5, but the entries are only 10. First thing we have to understand is that, you see this part here? Distance from A to A, distance from B to B, distance from C to C, distance from D to D, and distance from E to E. Those boxes obviously are going to be empty, because one does not show distance from town B to town B. If you did show an entry there, it will be 0. Distance from town C to town C is going to be 0. So if there are 5 cities, you have to subtract that 5. That 5 represents the distance from the city to itself, which of course is nonsense. Well, what's the bloody point of putting a 0 there? Those boxes are always empty. The second thing we need to understand is that the rest of the part that we see here is all mirror image of what we see on the top. It's a mirror image. Why? Because distance from A to B is going to be the exact same distance from B to A. This distance right here, let's represent it with a different symbol here. This triangle here is going to be the same as this guy. Exact same, they are mirror image. Distance from town C to town D is the same distance as from town D to town C. So all of the bottom part that we see here, all of this bottom part that we see here, these are all mirror images. These are all mirror images of these 10 entries that we see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. These 10 entries that we see are the exact same entries as this one. For example, this one that I'm pointing here is distance from C to D. That number is going to be the same as that number, because that shows the distance from D to C. You see, this is the mirror image of this guy, this is the mirror image of that guy. This distance, which is distance from A to D, this distance is same as that guy. So all mirror images, which means once we show the top half, there is no need to show bottom half. So here, whatever this total number is, we only have half as many. We have only half as many because the other half is the mirror image. So we do not have total. Let's start from the very beginning. We had 5 by 5. 5 by 5 is 25. Immediately we subtract 5 from it because 5 entry is this the diagonal, which is the distance from a town to itself. So we subtract that 5. Now we are left with 20. And out of 20, only half the entries are required because the other half is a mirror image. That's it. Now if we had n number of cities, we would have had n times n entries total, from which we will subtract n, which is the total number of cities itself, which is the distance from a given city to itself, and then we take half as many. There you go, that's it. Except here, in this case, we do not have 5 by 5, we have 30 cities. So if you have 30 cities, it's very simple. We do 30 times 30, 30 times 30, which is 900, minus 30. So that's 900 minus 30, and then we take half of that. 900 minus 30 is 870, and we take half of that. Whatever that works out to be. Half of 800 is 400, and half of 70 is 35. Well, that's our answer. That is our answer. That's it, we're done with this problem. What I want you to do at this point is compare this problem with number 133 on page 171. We are on page 169. I want you to turn one page there, go to page 171 and read that problem. Read the problem on page 171, problem number 133. The very first problem on that page was page 171. And at that point, after you have read the problem, I want you to pause the video and do the problem yourself. And after you have done the problem, I want you to resume this video. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to pause and unpause. Okay, here's what's going on in that problem. In that problem, on 133, what is going on is that instead of 5 cities, we don't have 5 cities, we have teams. We have 8 teams. If we have 8 teams, nothing would change. Nothing exactly would change. It's the exact same idea, exact same concept being applied in different scenarios. We have 8 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 8 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Voila. What you will find is that this diagonal, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 4 by 4, 5 by 5, 6 by 6, 7 by 7, and 8 by 8, they are all going to be empty. Something has gone drastically wrong. We have not 9 teams, we have 8 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We don't need a 9th. So it's going to stop right here. And we don't have this part right here. So that diagonal is going to be empty. This entire diagonal is going to be empty. Well, in the previous scenario, the scenario that we just finished, the logic is different as to why it's empty. That entire diagonal would have been empty because one does not show a distance from the town to itself. There will be 0 entry. So that will be the logic for that part. Here, we're talking about 2 teams playing against each other. And of course, Team A does not play against Team A. Team A does not play against itself. Team C is not going to play against itself. So that entry, that box is going to be empty. Now the top part that we see here is the mirror image of the bottom part. Why is the mirror image? Because when Team C plays against Team F, that match is the exact same match as when Team F plays against Team C. We do not double count. We just have to figure out how many matches are going to be played among these 8 teams, which is very simple. There are 8 teams, so they're going to have altogether 8 times 8 entries, 64 entries here, out of which we subtract 8, which is the diagonal here, and then we take half as many. That's it. We take half as many because, as I've said already many times, the top half is the mirror image of the bottom half, or vice versa. That's the answer to number 133. Anyway, let's go back to where we were. Let's finish let's do the next problem on the page we were on, page 160. We are back to page 169, problem number 125. Problem number 125 on page 169, number 125. On page 169, the last problem on page 125 is a very simple, very straight problem. We are given a ratio of length to width, and we are told that it is 3.3 to 2. The question simply is, what's going to be the length if the width happens to be 8? Well, if the width is 8, that's 4 times 2. So how do we make this 2? How do we convert this 2 into 8? Well, that's very simple. How do you convert that 2 into an 8? Somehow we have to convert this 2 into an 8. Well, that's very straightforward. Multiply the top and the bottom by 4, and that's your answer. The answer is length equals 3.3 times 4. Let's find out what 3.3 times 4 is. 4 times 3 is 12, so that's 2, carry 1, and we have a decimal here, carry 1, and then again 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. That's your answer, 13.2. And since they're looking for the approximate answer, I think the answer is C. And that's your number 25. That's our number 25. I will see you tomorrow. I can't find my cap. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll begin the next page. Okay? We are up to 125. And there are 230. Actually, we are more than halfway done. Halfway would have been 115. We're getting there. Once we get up to 130, then we can say that we have 100 more to go. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.